Hey y'all, we are back with another episode of Chatty Chit Chats with ChattyMuva. And y'all see the title, so y'all already know I got my girl Jay in the house, and we are back with another episode of Real Talks with my girl Jay. Say hey to them, girl.
Hey y'all, Jay's back with another podcast with my mom, and I'm ready to answer some questions like always.
And give some advice. So we actually have some questions that came in from some listeners who messaged me. We're going to keep them private, but shouts out to you, those of you who are messaging me, sending me feedback, rating this the 5 stars. I appreciate all of you. So this question came from somebody that's kind of dear to us, and they wanted to know from your perspective as a teenager, because what we're going to do in this episode is just what we always do, kind of go through questions. You're going to give some of your perspective, your advice, things like that. So the first question that they were curious to know from your perspective was, have you ever had peer pressure to do something that you didn't want to do, such as sex or drugs?
No, definitely not. But with that, obviously, I know a lot of people my age have gone through peer pressure because, it's very common nowadays to, get peer pressure by your friends or just, people that you're forced to hang out with or, just bad influence people, basically. But no, personally, I have not been peer pressured because my mom had already, talked to me about those things and kind of, got me prepared. Because I know, as we know, people do those things. So she got me prepared. And, I think I do have, a strong mindset and, know myself not to do those things.
Okay, shouts out to me for the mom tip. But yeah, no, I think okay, that's good to know. Now the question for you is, if there was somebody out, teenagers out there, and they're getting peer pressured from friends, and it's actually what you said nowadays, child, this has been going on forever. This has always been going on. There's always been peer pressure amongst humans. It's just human nature at some point where, people will try to, get you on their side to do something that they enjoy, which may be good or bad. And I think it's really important for us to hear your advice. What advice would you give to a teenager or to somebody who's young, even younger than teenager? Because, everybody's experiencing things at young ages. What would your advice be to somebody who's getting peer pressure, either with sex or drugs or just anything negative?
I feel like, as I'm always saying, just tell your parents, tell your parents, or tell older peer, maybe your older sibling or a family member, or maybe your teacher. If something is happening at school, tell your teacher, just somebody that you can trust and somebody that will be able to help you. And yeah, but I would mostly say parents because that's the person that takes care of you, that's your guardian. But if you don't have your parents, just a person that will help you and help you stop being peer pressured.
Okay, with the advice. I think just make sure you have, like she said, somebody to talk to about it, and just really think about what you want to do for yourself. Don't worry about feeling like, oh, I don't fit in because everybody there is doing it and now they're trying to get me to do it, and if I don't do it, I don't fit in. Who cares? Standing out is amazing these days. You don't want to be the same and fit in with everybody. You want to stand out and be unique, and being yourself is just exactly that. So if you don't want to do it, don't do it. You can still have fun, and you can show them that. Maybe even by you standing up, you might be teaching somebody else, yo, look, you could be like me. You don't have to do this that you don't want to do, this thing. Okay, cool. Next question is, we're going to talk a little bit about dating. Before I get into this, I have this list of questions for high school girls from practicalfamily.org. We're going to get into those questions. I'm going to also link that article down below because they have questions for boys. They have questions for girls that are younger than high school age and a little bit older. So you can, go through this with your teenager or your child, whatever it is. You can even go on there and ask questions for yourself if you're a teenager and you're listening to this, because there's a lot of really good questions in there. But before we get to that, there's one other question from a listener, and that is, I guess, when do you think the right age for dating is?
Having a real relationship, I'd say whenever you feel like you're mature and whenever you can make your own choices and the right choices, and are able to fix the possible consequences, because with relationships come, starting to have sex, it's a relationship. So those things are going to come to mind. And once you know that you're at an age where if those consequences do happen, you can do something about it maturely, if that makes sense. But Me, like, if I would say from personal experience, because I feel comfortable saying this, I started dating at 15. My first relationship was at 15, which is the age I am at right now. And I recently went through a little breakup, and I was mature enough to know that I made the right decision, and not let a person treat me the wrong way. So I think it's just whenever you're mature, and yeah.
Wow, amazing, amazing answer. And I'm actually was not expecting you to share such personal information about your first breakup, but I'm glad you brought it up because it kind of goes into the other questions. Rita started dating when she was 15, but even previous to that, when she was around 11, I think that's when she first asked me if she could have a boyfriend. And of course the answer was no, but it was more of explaining why, because I feel like a lot of kids don't get that. They just get the no. That's grown people thing. But you need to really break down the reasons as to why, relationships are not the best when you're not mature enough. Age may not have, the biggest say, especially after a certain point. Because some kids are really, really mature for their age. So sometimes you just have to know your kids. But making sure that they know the boundaries and just the different, things that can happen, the different consequences and things that can happen. Because like Jada said, sex is a big part of it. And that's probably the biggest thing that everybody thinks about when they think about their child dating is, they're going to go have sex, right? So that's why it's important to explain the things that come with sex and, just the whole dynamic of what a relationship is and why it's hard to juggle that being a kid figuring out your emotions, a teenager trying to figure out your emotions while juggling school, while juggling your family life, while just, trying to grow up and figure out who you really are. You really have to know how to say no and make sure you know where to draw the line. And sometimes people are at these ages are not mature enough. And one of the main reasons that it's probably important and you want to make sure that you explain to your child and have these conversations and ask them, questions like, why do you want to be in a relationship? What does a relationship look like to you at whatever age it is? Just to kind of see where their mind is at and what they're expecting from a relationship. Because like we said earlier, a lot of times our minds go straight to the sex. And sometimes that's not even what they're thinking. However, it is still important to have those conversations because you don't want to say no, leave it at that, and then your child just goes behind your back and does it anyways, and then finds out the hard way. Explaining to your kid just kind of, why, the consequences and things like that, the boundaries, and just kind of understanding your kid and kind of hearing them out. I think that's really, really important just because, at the end of the day, we know our kids are going to do things behind our backs. But if we have that conversation, at least they have power behind them, so they have some information. So ChattyMuva has done enough chatting now. We're going to let Jada get back in on this conversation. And we're going to jump in with those questions from practicalfamily.org. And the first one is, how do you know he's worth dating, girl? How do you know he's even worth it?
When he's treating you right. I feel like that's the easiest thing to say, the most simplest thing to say, because when a person is treating you right, whether it's a man, woman, whoever, when they treat you right, when they make you feel loved, give you reassurance, let you know that they love you for who you are, checks up on you daily, like none of that cheating stuff, just loves you for who you are and makes you know like that they love you, basically, that's when you know that they're the one. And when they help you at your lowest moments, when no one is around, that's how you know a person loves you and really is the one for you.
And I was going to ask you, though, what does treating you right look like outside of the basic? Everybody wants a good guy. Everybody wants, somebody who's going to treat them right, quote unquote, right? But what stands out? What outside of the basic stuff would make you know, okay, this person is right for me? Is there anything outside of okay, because you said you went through your last breakup. So what from that did you learn that you don't want basically from this relationship, or what would make you say, okay, yeah, this feels better than the last relationship?
Okay, something that I knew that wasn't what I wanted from that relationship was just plain out being just disrespectful and not giving me the attention that I need, because with a relationship, you need that attention from your significant other. Without attention from your person, there's no real relationship, you know what I mean? If they're not making time for you, where's that actual relationship? Where's that connection? But something that I think that stands out from personal experience, I would just say supporting me at my lowest moments, because if you guys don't know, like, our grandma recently died 2 months ago, and I feel like something that kind of like stood out from the person that I was dating at that current time was them just supporting me and, like, you know, like, showing me love during that time, because during that time, that's when I needed love the most, and I feel like they did help me with that. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. And just to go back, like, it's not even just only attention that was the issue with them, because I don't want you guys to get it twisted and take her words and think that she's needy or was like expecting more from him than like an average, like, check in on me, make sure I'm good, like, and not dismiss my feelings, because I think that was a big part of it.
Definitely.
Right. He was dismissing like her feelings and like her thoughts, and the things that she wanted to talk about or she was trying to say would just be like, oh, a shutdown type of thing. And I think that's where it kind of like the snowballed and ended. So yes, know what you're accepting. And yeah, the next question is exciting. I want to know your answer. What if you're interested in somebody, but what if you're interested in a specific person and they're not interested in you? How would you handle that? How would you handle rejection, I guess, is a better question.
Oh, honestly, I handle it very well, I think, because, like, if a person is not interested in you, then they're just not interested. If I'm not interested in a person and I tell them that, I feel like they should be okay with that. If they tell me that they're not interested in me, I feel like they should be okay with that, because they're just not interested, and that's fine. You have to accept that and take it as it is, you know?
Okay, but let's be real. What are your raw feelings in the moment? So maybe you go up, because you're pretty brave. You go up and tell somebody they're cute, right? You said, like, I know you've told me, like, you're pretty brave, and you'll go up and tell somebody, like, how that you think they look good or whatever it is. So would you, now, maybe you go up to this guy or this girl or whatever, and you say, you look good, right? Would you, and they say, no, like you tell them they look good and you're interested. Can I get your number? Something like that, maybe, right? And they're just like, they give you like a dirty look, or they're just like, no. How do you really feel? Like, or what would your response be, I think?
It's obviously a humbling moment, because it took you the confidence to go up to them and even ask that. But yeah, I'll be like, damn, like, they said no and just give me a dirty look. But it really depends on, like, their reaction to, like, what you say and how you ask them, because, like, with the giving dirty look and just being like, ew, no, like, okay, that's kind of like rude. You could have just been like, no, sorry, I'm not interested. So it really depends on how they come off. But if it's just a general, like, no, sorry, like I said, I'm not interested, then what can I do? It's humbling, but, like, what can I do about it, you know? That's just that. So
Okay. And I think that question is really important for moms with sons. It's important to make sure that your sons are okay with rejection, because a lot of women and girls are murdered every day because of, them rejecting a man. And we want our girls to feel safe and stuff like that. I'm also raising sons, and I'm going to make sure that they know that no means no, and take your ass on, okay? Because they ain't interested. And that there's plenty of fish in the sea, and, you just keep trying, but you don't pester the same woman. You don't harass anybody. So, or make them feel bad for what their choices. They chose that they don't want to be around you. They're not interested in you. They just, they don't want to take it further. So these questions are very important. One question that is kind of off of this, practicalfamily.org site just came to mind, and I just want to go through it with you. We're going to talk about clothing for a little bit. And the reason I want to talk about clothing is because, Jada's 15. She's very expressive with her clothing. And I get a lot of, like, people asking me, or I've even had family members, say to me, she looks grown. Like, she looks grown, quote unquote grown, whatever that means, right? Jada's the type of girl that, first of all, I'm the type of parent that allows my kids to express themselves. So Jada wears lashes. If she wants her nails long, she wears nails. She's expressing herself, and she wears crop tops. So half the time her stomach is hanging out. We all know how teenagers are, expressing themselves, but I allow my daughter to do that. And there's some people out here who, they have a problem with that. They think that, she's grown and, she's going to attract grown men, or she's going to attract the wrong audience for her age. And what I have to say to that as a parent, before I let Jada speak on, I guess her experience, I don't know. But what I have to say to that is, men are going to look at your child, your girl child, whether she's wearing a crop top or whether she's wearing a blanket over her whole body. The issue is not with what our children are wearing. Her behavior is of her age. My daughter is not grown. My daughter is not trying to be grown. She's not trying to act grown. She's literally, longer nails is something that we could grow from our body. And if she wanted to grow her natural nails to whatever length of her choice, I would never stop her. Same thing as her hair. So why would I now try to control the things that she's wearing? Of course, I'm not going to have her outside, like allow her to be outside naked. And that's just because that's for literally, it's first of all illegal.
Yeah.
And second of all, because that's definitely not what we're talking about here. We're talking about expressing yourself to a limit. You know what I'm saying? And my daughter does that. My daughter's not out here naked. She's not out here doing anything inappropriate other than expressing herself through her fashions and things like that. So I just really wanted to touch on this because it is kind of a sore spot for me, because I'm tired of hearing things like that. Like, oh, if I let my kids wear lashes or earrings or, pierce their ears or do this or that, they're too grown. Things like, letting my kid have a tattoo or things that are lifelong. Maybe I'll ask her to wait a little bit longer, or wait till a certain age, things like that. But my daughter is doing so amazing in school. She is just such an amazing girl. And she has not shown me there's any reason that I need to restrict her, expressing herself in the ways that she chooses to do that. She's not disrespectful. She's respectful all the time. And we have such an amazing relationship. So I don't see the issue. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that and hopefully open up some parents' minds, because I know there's some people even around me in my close knit circle that don't agree with that specific, thing, the way that maybe she may look for her age or whatever it is that they want to say. So do you want to say anything about that really quick, or have I said it all?
You said it all. I honestly think you said it all. It's just the way I express myself, and it's not like I'm necessarily trying to get a certain audience to look at me. It's just the way I dress, and I like it. So, yeah, don't try to judge them, or anybody really try to judge a teenager for how they dress, unless it's like, something that can actually harm them or hurt them, or yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah, no, it's true. Exactly. If it's not going to harm them and their behaviors are not, because I know one of the biggest things is probably, thinking of girls wearing the shortest skirts, or just walking around their bras on, or things like that. Just take a minute before you sit around judging people. And I'm not even saying that for my daughter, because my daughter doesn't really wear stuff like that, but just even her wearing lashes and having long nails seems to be an issue for certain people. And a lot of people in the Caribbean culture have this issue of saying that you're too fast, or you're too grown, or you think you're too grown, or you want to be grown, based off of children wearing certain clothing, or wearing nails and earrings of a certain length or height or whatever. I remember growing up and not being able to wear hoops that were too big until I was a certain age. And I'm like, it's jewelry. Who cares? What's the big deal? So I'm just really glad we were able to touch on this topic. I think we're going to end it off here. We're going to get back into that practicalfamily.org article, another episode, and kind of finish it off, because there's a lot of really good questions on there. I will link it below for those who may be interested. And when I say below, that's for the people that are on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, you can go to my YouTube channel if you're interested in that link. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next episode. Love and light. And
bye, you guys. See you next episode. Toodles.
Team Perspectives with Jada. Real Talks with Jay. Until the next episode. Bye. Bye.